Welcome back, friends and fans. I am back myself, and I have a very special update to share with you. It's clearly not with this guy here, but it's with the Snarl proper that we had talked about. I got some fancy new digs that I've made for myself that we're going to be able to use today to show off the figure. So let's get started. Okay, so I am super pumped to share this with you today. And I'm going to try and do it as fast as I can, but I expect it to go a little longer today because I've got a lot to show you. I've been hard at work, life kicks in, have to take a break, get back into it, take a break, get back into it. But it's all good because if I don't take those moments to think, if I don't take those moments to really work out my problems that I have with my customs, then it really kind of buries me in a direction that I can't get myself out of. So right here, this is, if you recall, this is now Slag, okay? This is the new animated Slag that I've created, and I have created Animated Snarl, which is Snarl proper, a Stegosaurus, if you remember from my last video. And I have been just so excited to share this with you. And I just wanted to finish the build portion, at least the main build portion of Snarl, before I got into something else. In the meantime, too, kind of in the middle, I created this turntable here that made it myself, and I made it out of an IKEA turntable. I added a motor to it, wired it, made it so that I can show off figures in reviews and also in customs, and I think it'll be a nice piece for you. I think it'll be a nice piece of equipment for us to use for these type of videos. And I was just unhappy with how expensive the turntables were on Amazon, and the reviews were just poor on the ones that were cheap. So I decided to make one for like 15 bucks. So you can't beat that, right? And if anybody wants one in the future, I might build a couple and sell them. I don't know. Okay, so now I want to get into the main event here. This is not what you're here for, right? You are here for, well, maybe you're here for this, but we've already gone over this one, and I haven't painted it yet, right? All of this is just very fresh. This is all build. Now, Slag here is a lot cleaner than Snarl is, in the sense that this took about 75% less scratch building and modification and moving things around than Snarl does. And I just want to prep you for that, and also kind of explain to you that things are going to look unfinished in areas. Things are going to look a little rough in areas. I'm hoping, and I've tried cleaning up a lot of it, sanding it and doing everything, but it's going to look worse than it actually is. I think the paint is going to cover up a lot of it because there's a lot of gouges and scratches that I had to fill in with some putty and stuff and smooth it down. And I think it's going to look good when it's painted. And I'm going to try and make it look good as best I can, right? I'm very happy with the results. It's a little bit more fiddly, it's a little bit more involved of a transformation, and you'll see, but I think the end result came out better than I was actually hoping for, as far as the engineering is concerned, especially utilizing this mold again, trying to figure it out. If you remember from my special edition that I had back when, a few months ago, I kind of came up with an idea, and I ran with that idea, and I think you're going to really be excited. I've probably talked entirely too long in this intro, and so let's get into the thick of the video and what you're actually here for when you clicked on this. Alright, so obviously, again, this is not who you're here to look for, right? This is not who we're here to look at, but we'll do the comparisons when we get to him, okay? I think it's going to be cool to see these two next to each other, but I also wanted to at least show you Slag here on the turntable without my big meaty hands getting in the way of the actual figure. That way you can kind of get a good 360. So, all right, let's go ahead and pull him off at the moment, and we can turn this off. Now, if you remember back when I did that emergency video, I came to you with this idea right here, right? Where it was the Snarl, Animated Snarl, or Slag, right? That figure turned upside down, remember? We had talked about this, and I thought, man, this has got the right look. It's got the right appearance, and I wanted to, work it out where, I lower the tail a little bit, move the legs out maybe, and maybe use this as the head here. Well, I kind of did that, but I also made more modifications than I was planning, and I want to get into it, all right? So let's get into that right now. So here is the main event. Now, again, please bear with me. There's a lot of cleanup to do on it still, but it is very smooth in hand. The underside is not so smooth, and the pockets that you're not going to see, it's just going to be painted flat black anyway. It's not even going to matter. But we'll touch on that. So here we go. All right, here is Snarl. So, immediate things you can see here are the green and the white and the red, and all of those are new additions. These are styrene, these are parts from other Transformers, this putty, it's filling in, right? So, immediate things you can see here is that the tail has been lowered a little bit. It's got the spikes on it. It's got the plates. The plates are fanned out, making them a little bit more organic. I've got the head there sticking. The head was created from, let's see, the head itself was created from a slug/slag figure that I widened it. You can see here in the center, I widened the head with styrene strips. I've got, in here, different legs that had to be modified. But overall, this is the dinosaur mode. I don't know how else to explain it except that I'm just very, very happy. I'm very pleased with how this turned out. I've got some explanation to go along with this guy, and I think the really only way to explain it is to, pick it up and talk about it, right? All right, guys, so coming in close here, hopefully this all zooms in and it could focus pretty nice. Now again, there's going to be some rougher areas here where I'm still trying to cut, and this plastic here that I used was a lot tougher to move and sand and cut. It's a harder plastic. Actually, these upper leg portions here are actually from a RID Grimlock, believe it or not. It's funny how I just cannibalize other dinosaurs for this, but I chose this type of leg for a reason, and you'll see why in transformation. Yep, here is the head. The mouth does open. Okay, now I can move it around differently to make it a little bit more articulated, and you'll see the reason why it does what it does here in a bit. But it does open. It can move, right? It can move. This can stay still if I want it to. The tail doesn't move. These legs do move right there. They got a pivot here now. I closed this up. These have the joints. You got a pivot or a rotation here. Joint rotation, all that jazz. Now, yes, you can see the head underneath, but I'm okay with that because it's underneath, and I didn't want to have a giant gut sticking down on this. I wanted him to be a little bit streamlined here, okay? But there's the top of it. A lot going on here. A lot of transformation stuff going on. I wanted the tail to look a little bit more organic, right? being that it's from Animated and also more of a beast. So all these plates here, hand cut, of course. I don't know what else to talk about here. I think the real show is when we get into transformation in the robot mode. Okay. Yeah, nice. I got a spot here for the Autobot logo, of course. Now I'm going to fill in these holes with putty. I was just too excited to show you how this works. These maroon pieces, these reddish maroon pieces here, are actually from a one-step activator Grimlock, and I had a plan, and then it just started multiplying and multiplying, and then in order to make this work and to grow it, all this styrene here, reinforcement styrene underneath to make sure that these don't break off. You know, this is a piece that's underneath, and you'll see that in a little bit. But there's a lot going on here, and I am just stoked to show you. Okay, yeah, I mean, right here, it looks bad. It looks bad, but it's actually very smooth. And I'll buff it a little bit too. It's very smooth in through here. You know, I'll buff a little bit more and sand some more, make it a little cleaner on some edges. But overall, I'm very, very pleased with this so far. So, okay, now let's get into the transformation. All right, so this is where it's going to get a little complicated. All right, this is where it's going to get a little complicated to show everything on camera. I'm gonna do my best, but try and bear with me as I try and get through this. Okay. All right. So the first things that we're going to do here is we're going to pop this up, pop the head up, and it's on a separate piece. Now see what I see here? It's all junky and garbagey in here. I haven't sanded this area yet. I haven't buffed this area yet. But there's a peg here that pegs into the piece. And if you notice, this is the piece that I started with right here, right? So that's where that is. And then the head comes down and pegs into that. Boop. Nice secure. And then it pop. You can hear that. It's really nice. Anyway, so pop that up. Now back here, you're going to see this joint right in here. Okay? And what that does is I take this entire backpack, pulls right up and off. Now you see how the head is coming with this piece. So now it's got a hinge. So now I got rotation here on a stem stick, if you will, in there. Again, it's all garbagey under here. All right, and then the head here can come down on this stick joint, but we'll deal with that when we need to. Okay, we'll just leave the head stick up here, and then it'll be cool. I'll show you later how this all works, okay? All right. So let's get that up. All right. Now I'm going to take the tail slides down, okay? And it rotates around just like that. Okay? We'll get that out of the way for now. Bring the whole hip section down. This is kind of a gap filler area. These will be gap fillers as we get there. Okay, so we'll keep that kind of laying there for now. All right. Take the arms. Now I got some Power Core combiners. These little square pegs worked out perfectly. They fit right into the slot that was here already for that big giant plate thing that would go on the outside of this right here. You can see right in here that little slot right there, that perfectly fit a Power Core combiner peg right in there. Oh, it's great. So I have this in a way that these can move forward now and slink forward so that the shoulder is in line. So the shoulder is in line with the head. See, this moves back for the dinosaur, moves forward like this. Okay? These here rotate, right? Gotta pull the good old hands out here. Pull the hands out right there. All right. Let me get these legs situated here because they kind of get in the way a little bit. All right. So this whole section in here, I kept the normal peg here that connected in the original Animated Snarl figure, and then I retrofit it with a piece of that Grimlock bit, and I secured everything in so that the mushroom pegs don't come rotating out. All right, so these now can come down. All right, go like this. Nope, sorry, like this. That way that the toes, this very similar toes, and with the angle is there. All right, so now we've got a knee bend there, got a rotation there, and oops, and the toes and stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna quit babbling. Oops, right there. So there you go. There you got the legs done, and I like the way these legs were done a little bit better than even the previous figure that I did. Anyway, all right, get that, put this in place. Okay, so now I'm going to try and do this on camera best I can. So this opens up like normal. I just got to get in here like that, but I don't want to go out too far, and you'll see why. There we go. All right, so in the back here, let's try and rotate this so you can see. All right, right in here you can see that there's a peg sticking down. I didn't want this to open up all the way and droop down just like, and get wider. I wanted him to be a little thinner, a little sleeker, so that the tail created the bulk, okay? So this peg now goes into a hole that I created. Do you see that? Right there, that peg goes down and in right there. So now it's not going to move out any further. So I do the same on this side. Make sure that that goes into the right spot. Yep, I think it's in the right spot. I'm going to rotate the tail in a way. Yep, tail's in the right spot. But you know, I have to remember how to do this in the right steps. You know what? I might have to do this because rotating this thing can be a bit of a pain in the tuchus. Alright, I'm going to open this up here. Alright, open the tail up. Alright, now I gotta get it in the right spot because the plates get in the way here. You can see pop, pop, pop. So now I gotta work it like this. Back, 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 back. Just like that. So now it's over. Get this tail in a position right on the outside here. Alright, I'm gonna rotate it now. There we go. Alright, rotate this up and through like this, like that. Alright, now bring that down. Got these here on the sides, so I'm going to put this down right here, get it to click in there, take this, move those down to fill in the side gaps. Let me see if I can't get a hold of this. There we go. So that fills in the gaps on the sides so he doesn't look so hollow on the side. I did a molded face sculpt here, but we'll talk about that here in a bit. All right, make sure that this goes up as far as it'll go. And then these little pieces, all right, make sure these arms come down. These will, see there's a little notch now. These tail pieces will move up into that spot there. Same thing. Oop, let me rotate this here. Darn it, I pushed too hard. Gotta make sure that that's the wonkiest part of this whole thing, is right in there. I'm not overly pleased with it, but that's what I had to do in order for it to not be so wide and also have something to catch. Alright, so before we get this backpack situated, little piece of plastic falling out from previous cuts. Alright, before I get the backpack completely situated back here, I'm going to fold this head. Alright, come on. Fold that there. Fold that under. Right there. And that sits under there. Now, this piece right here becomes important. Getting that just right. That folds down, that presses in, creates pressure right there. Now that thing, nice and secure. And there you have, pressed too hard. See, wonky, right in there. So if I were reviewing this figure, I'd probably complain about it a little bit because of that aspect. But overall, right there. Right there. So now, there is my version of Animated Snarl. So let's take a quick look at him, huh? So, a little louder than I want it to be, but anyway, yeah, he's got a little bit of a backpack, but you kind of expect that from Snarl. Oops, he's not. There we go. So got that look, you know, behind his back here, the tail. This whole backpack area is kind of unavoidable, right? In my opinion. Now, I did it this way in order to get the best look I could up here in the tail section, because then it gives it more dynamic look. And also, oh yeah, the head. The head, I did some sculpting work. Now that's not going to be a goatee when it's going to be nice and silver. You know, he's got a Snarl look to him. Those eyes will be inset. He's got the Snarl crest. He's got the Snarl horn areas. But that was my first ever workings with green sculpting putty, and it's not easy, but it was pretty cool to try and work with. Hopefully I'll get better at it, and there's still some filler that I need to do up in here just to make it look nicer for the paint. But anyway, now that being said, so him just standing there looks pretty cool, right? You know, kind of getting a couple different angles here. All right, now, right, the things I had to fight with on this is in a way that I didn't have to get. I had to fight the gaps here along the chest that this mold has. I had to fight these gaps on the sides. So I created little filler body pieces in there. Yeah, so that is Snarl. I'm super excited about it. I think he looks really nice. The backpack, I know the backpack is a little much. I get it. But something that you can do here in order to reduce the amount of backpack that's back here, you're probably thinking, where is his weapon? Where's his weapon? What does he have to use or wield? Well, this piece right back here pulls off on a slot system. All right, so this piece here is cut in a way so that the head can pass through this section right here, but then it becomes like a fist gauntlet. So let me see if I can't line up the fingers through here. Yeah. It's It's hard to do this on camera. When it's in front of me, it's a lot easier. I think that's what everybody says, right? Move the thumb over it. And just like that, there he is with his fist gauntlet for a weapon. So the backpack will clean up a little bit more. Now you can kind of see the stick hanging down from his head. Now I do have an option there that if I wanted to utilize it, I could. You can take the head here, kind of squeak it out, move it back, and you can actually put the head kind of sitting up on the back of Snarl's bottom here. I kind of gave myself two options to do this if I wanted to, but ultimately I don't think that looks spectacular. I mean, it's interesting, you know, how the head kind of splits. It ends up behind the hip and in front of the hip, the lower jaw, but it is what it is, right? There's options. Okay, so allow me to bring in the Slash Brothers as I have started to consider them. So here are my two takes on the animated Slag and Snarl characters. Obviously, they're my own take. They're not exactly perfect, but I think the two of them, I think they're fitting the aesthetic, right? I wanted Slag here to be more of the bruiser, the bigger guy, and I wanted Snarl to be a little bit more sleek, a little bit more slender. You know, differentiate him enough between Slag that they don't look like they came from the same mold, but in fact they do. There's obviously some similarities, which then makes them brothers, in my opinion. I'm still not sure what to do in here. If it's blocking too much of his face, I still may cut those out. That way his face isn't being blocked so bad. But overall, I am very, very happy with this so far. I hope you like it too. It's taken a long time to get me to this part, and I know that maybe Snarl here isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea. I don't know, but I'm very happy. I'm very happy. So let me get them back into their dinosaur modes and compare the two. I think they shine together in the dinosaur modes together. I think they look great. Alright, quickly here, I know this video is getting a little long, but I wanted to show you how this whole mechanism works going back into the dinosaur mode. So I've got it headed back the right direction. So this right here, it sits in a groove. This guy right here, this whole armature sits in that groove there, flush. So it will bend forward. There's a hole in the top. Allows the original hip joint area or body movement where the hips are. I cut a groove into this piece here. Okay. This armature up here will sit in that groove, and then everything will bend down, okay, and sit where it needs to underneath the arm gauntlet. Okay. Now I had to put some screws in here, screw in here, just for reinforcement, because this is going to be very weak. Okay, and this is all underneath. It's all going to be black anyway, so who cares what this looks like in the underneath, right? So this kind of pivots down. You can see it moving down and then down in that groove. Okay, then this whole piece will line itself up over top of, let me make sure I've got everything out of the way. There's nothing, oh, the tail isn't tail got rotated a little bit. Okay, there we go. And then this piece heads right down over top, right there. Boom, like that. This piece heads down right in that groove, right there. You got this piece underneath. We'll grab just like that. Just see that? That's how that whole under armature works, right? And then the arm gauntlet, see it right there? And then it slides right in there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it on without taking it back up again. In fact, I know I'm not. I've tried it before. So I'll just move that up a little bit. Get that positioned right there. Slide it up right there. You can see the groove underneath. I don't know if you can see up and under there where that whole armature passes through there. And then slide it back down. I think that's the part that excites me the most. Something else that I wanted to show you here is how I had to extend the tail here. So undo this again. Right? So this is the original piece of the tail right here. You can see how that is the thickness. So I had to create a V-shaped block in here. So I used a piece of an old snarl that I had to thicken it out, add some couple pieces of styrene in here, create a V so that the tail can, you know, lower down a little bit rather than sticking straight up in the air. These were a little bit of a pain in the butt. I'm still a little nervous about the paint chipping or scratching when it comes time to deal with those. I don't want to move those up too high because they hit this piece right here when in this mode. But I had to create L-shaped reinforcements on these little gap fillers so that they didn't break, so they stayed solid. There we go. But anyway, this just comes right. Make sure I got this. Up, up, right there, there, down, down. All secure. There it is. Click on the head, on the jaw, right there. All right, so getting him in the right dinosaur stance, if you will. Right, good enough. Good enough. Set him here, and then set his brother next to him. And so now in this mode, here, Snarl proper looks like the big bruiser, big scary guy, right? Because he's just bigger, taller, just looks more menacing than, and I gotta fill that in with putty there, of course. But that's what they look like together. So I'm just beside myself. I'm sorry. I'm just so excited that it got to this point, and I don't know how else to put it. I really hope, and that's all this came from, was this idea right here, right? Just flipping it over, and then I was able to create something out of the Triceratops mold. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know I didn't write up on the board. I don't know if I needed to explain too much. There's just too much going on in this at the moment. It's a little flimsier, yes. It's a lot floppier. There's little finicky parts, but there are some solid connections. There's connections that click in. There's connections that aren't gonna move, like that. The armature piece in the back of the tail that all sits down in the grooves all along the back, that doesn't move in dinosaur mode. Dinosaur mode is definitely more secure than the robot mode. That is for sure. I am just so excited for this whole custom set. What's even more exciting is that I only have one more to go to build. That is the Big Bad Sludge, and I'm going back and forth. I have to sit down and think if I want to base it off of the Triceratops mold again and just make it a little taller using it, I think I'm going to base it off the Grimlock mold because I like the way the feet fold out and the wings off the back create that. And plus, I'm kind of tired of dealing with this type of mold. It's very finicky. It's very odd the way it was made, but I didn't want to deviate too much of it on this guy, but I definitely had to deviate quite a bit on the Snarl figure here, and I'm just ready to get into something new. I hope this video was informative. It was exciting for you. I know it was exciting for me, and I just could not wait to bring it to you guys. And I guess the next video that you're going to see, just wanted to thank you all for joining me on these videos. I hope they are exciting for you. I hope you're enjoying them. It gives me a little bit more oomph to get them done, knowing that I've waited so long to get my customs done. I'm nervous about painting them. I don't want to, personally, I don't want to paint them. I just have a bad feeling about it. I don't know why. So if anybody out there who's a real professional customs painter wants to volunteer to do this, I don't know if there's anything much more to say in this video. If you have any comments, questions, if you'd like me to explain something a little bit more on how it came together, thought process, I'd be happy to maybe give that a shot if it helps. But I know it's not. I'm sorry it wasn't finished in the sense that it wasn't painted. It's really hard to see what's going on here with the white and the red and the green and the scratches and the pits and the dents and the dings and just everything going on, that it really gets it's really difficult to see what I'm doing when everything's just a mess like this. But I hope that most of you can see it. Once again, I'm just rambling, and you can tell it's been a while. Oh, perfect, the battery's dying. But before we get to sludge, the next video you're going to see is an unboxing video, which I have so many that I've just been clamoring to open up, and just even to make sure that the vendor sent me the right thing. How stupid am I?
Go on.